All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec, I'm a CPA, and this is my stimulus update for Saturday, October 10th. Before we get into it, as I do from time to time, I want to give a shout out to my wife, who made this awesome pasta for us this past week. Butternut squash pasta using ingredients she got from Trader Joe's. It was really good. I want it for Thanksgiving. You can check out her recipe and her making it over on her channel. Link at the top of the screen. All right, stimulus time. So Mnuchin offered $1.8 trillion to Nancy Pelosi in a 30-minute phone conversation yesterday. What's different in this proposal? Now, we're not exactly sure, but it's said to increase the funding for state and local government to $300 billion from $250 billion in Mnuchin's previous $1.6 trillion proposal. It's said to keep the enhanced unemployment at $400 per week, but for a longer period of time into 2021. And according to other sources, it will include the $1,200 stimulus checks. No surprise there, we knew that. But what's new in this new White House proposal is that it appears to include stimulus checks for $1,000 per child. That is just what sources for the Washington Post said. I don't know what that means for adult dependents. That's not clear at this time until we see the actual White House proposal. If I had to guess, I think that when this source said per child, they actually meant per child, not per dependent, because Pelosi wants to expand the child tax credit and make it fully refundable. Right now, the child tax credit is for $2,000 for qualifying children, but you can only get $1,400 worth refunded to you. So let's say you have a qualifying child, but your tax liability before credits is only $500. You might think, oh, well, the child tax credit is $2,000. I only have a $500 tax liability, so I'll get a $1,500 refund. No, that's not how it works under current law. Under current law, only $1,400 is refundable, but Pelosi wants to make the entire $2,000 child tax credit refundable. I've seen a few questions about this in the comments. I don't want to make this video a tax lesson. Maybe I'll do a separate video on the child tax credit. But my point is that it's thought that this $1,000 per child stimulus check proposal is the White House's counter to Pelosi wanting to expand the child tax credit refundability. So just some basic math here. Under this White House proposal, family of 4, 2 parents, 2 qualifying children, that's $4,400. One more thing of note about the stimulus checks in the White House's new $1.8 trillion proposal. The Washington Post is reporting that it would allow certain unauthorized immigrants to get stimulus checks. The Post did not elaborate on this, but I take that to mean that perhaps the White House proposal takes away the Social Security requirement and just says, look, even if you have an individual taxpayer identification number, an ITIN, as long as you meet the other qualifications, you're good. If that's true, then Pelosi has been working them hard. Nevertheless, Nancy Pelosi rejected the White House's $1.8 trillion offer, calling it in a Dear Colleague letter, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I'll read you an excerpt here. Pelosi said, on Friday, the Trump administration returned to the table with a proposal that attempted to address some of the concerns Democrats have in the coronavirus relief negotiations. This proposal amounted to 1 step forward, 2 steps back. At this point, we still have disagreement on many priorities, and Democrats are awaiting language from the administration on several provisions as the negotiations on the overall funding amount continue. In terms of specific things that Pelosi said the latest Republican $1.8 trillion proposal lacks, she specifically mentioned 1, the absence of a strategic plan to crush the virus, as Democrats proposed in the HEROES Act. 2, a refusal to honor our heroes and respect safety in the workforce, which Pelosi ties to state and local funding. Because remember, the updated HEROES Act does not have that hazard pay proposal that was found in the original HEROES Act. This updated HEROES Act simply ties honoring our heroes to state and local funding. And Pelosi views the $300 billion in state and local funding in the Republicans' new proposal as inadequate. She also brought up the earned income tax credit, child tax credit, child dependent care tax credit, all things she wants to expand specifically for at lower income levels. So number 3, she said that the Republican proposal is lacking with respect to those tax credits. Number 4, she said the Republicans' proposal for $25 billion for childcare is inadequate compared to the HEROES Act's $57 billion. And of course, number 5, she called the Republicans' proposal on unemployment, which is $400 per week, as compared to the Democrats' $600 per week, inadequate. Number 6, she thinks the liability protection in the Republican proposal is a poison pill. Nevertheless, Mnuchin and Pelosi have agreed to work through the weekend to reach a deal. Now let's talk Trump. At 11:48 a.m. Eastern Time yesterday, the president tweeted, COVID relief negotiations are moving along, go big. And then later in the day on Rush Limbaugh, Trump said that he would like to see a bigger stimulus package than either the Democrats or the Republicans are offering, which was just stupid. You probably saw my post in the community tab yesterday. But seriously, what does Trump think he's doing here? He's making himself look desperate to Democrats and irrelevant to Republicans. In fact, he's so desperate that in less than 48 hours, he went from no more stimulus talks, Nancy's conducting herself in bad faith, to I really want a deal, please, 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 it's no one's fault. You know, Pelosi wanted things, Republicans wanted things, the Democrats are very capable. Please, Nancy, please give us a deal. This all gives Pelosi leverage, frankly, to reject a $1.8 trillion offer. And not only is Trump making himself look desperate to Democrats, he's making himself look irrelevant to Republicans. What? So Trump wants more than the Republicans or the Democrats are offering? But sorry, Trump, your desire hasn't seemed to translate to your Treasury Secretary's proposal, and it just makes him look irrelevant to Republican senators who know that anything bigger than what the Democrats want wouldn't have a chance in the Republican Senate. Trump is just saying meaningless words that have no effect on his own party. They're meaningless to Mnuchin. They're meaningless to McConnell. This is just desperation time for him, and it's a bad look. And frankly, it's stupid that anyone would consider him a master negotiator after his conduct this week. Speaking of Republican senators, as for McConnell, yesterday he admitted that the country does need another rescue package, but continued to say the same thing about the timing. He said it's unclear whether a deal will get done before November 3rd, and said that the Senate's priority at this time is confirming Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Nevertheless, there are a few Republican senators who are in close Senate races who really want a stimulus deal. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa yesterday tweeted, "Spoke to the president and relayed to him what I've heard from folks across the state. Iowans need additional COVID-19 relief. I'm hopeful Congress can come together once again, Republicans and Democrats, and provide more support to hardworking Americans." And finally, last but not least, no, I am not going to talk about Larry Kudlow because he is irrelevant at this point. I'm convinced his job right now is simply to go on camera and say things to boost the markets. All right, everybody, that is my stimulus update for today. Bottom line, no deal yet. Pelosi, whom Trump has given all the leverage right now with his desperate actions and words this past week, is completely comfortable rejecting Republican offer after Republican offer, including the latest one for $1.8 trillion. Thank you so much for watching. If you want something to watch next, check out my wife's butternut squash pasta video. You'll see a link to it on the end screen coming up next. So enjoy that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.